A salary has started behaving a lot more like equity. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, sometimes it is not there, it has completely vanished. You will rarely find someone in the US talking about that they need to finance their kids' college education, they need to finance their kids' marriage, etc. Those are a standard in India that, you will be
Right.
paying for your kids' college, you will be paying for your kids' especially if you have money.
Hi, everyone. So, welcome to the long game. Most people think financial freedom is just about hitting some number and then retiring early. But I feel like real life is way messier than that. You've got layoffs, AI, and even people earning really well still don't feel fully secure. So, that's what I want to talk about today. Ravi, really glad to have you here. You've seen money from a lot of angles now, right? Like building a business, selling it, becoming financially independent, and now building again. So, when you look at smart Indian professionals today, what do you think they still get wrong about money?
Bunch of things. Essentially, the biggest problem that I feel in India is that we are not really open about money conversations. And to such an extent that most people's spouses don't really know how much money they have and where it is kept. Most parents hide how much money they have saved from their children. And there could be a bunch of historical reasons behind it, bunch of cultural reasons behind it. We can't really say why it is happening, but the fact that it is happening is there.
Hmm.
And that causes a lot of issue because when you're not open about money or when you're not open about anything, for that matter, if any topic is considered taboo, you can't really learn about it. You can't really grow. You can't really make informed, high quality decisions about it. And when that doesn't happen, you sort of get trapped with people who have either malicious intent or people who themselves don't really know much about the topic. I would like to.
Can you give a few examples on this one?
So, what typically happens is, where do you get your money learnings or money advice from? It
Hmm.
typically comes in a lot of cases from your friends or your bank relationship manager or your chacha, mama, uncle, and all of that. Now, a lot of these people will have good intentions, but they don't really know enough. So your friend is probably, he might be marginally 10% better than you, 20% better than you, but he's not really expert at money management. On the other hand, the most common professional that you end up going to is your bank relationship manager. And the bank relationship manager has targets on his head and he will end up selling you what benefits him. So he'll end up selling you some type of unit linked insurance policies. He'll end up selling you some sort of regular mutual funds. And in those products, you lose out a large amount of money in commissions. And not just commissions, you end up buying the wrong product because that particular month, what happens is that his boss has told him that this month your target is to sell this many insurance policies. Now, it's possible that you needed to buy a mutual fund, but because he had a target of selling insurance policies, he'll try and sell you an insurance policy. So the incentives are not aligned. And because of that, a lot of people get trapped in, I'll not say wrong or bad, but suboptimal products because of this.
So, what is the way out of this then?
Educate yourself because if you are going to rely on anyone else, they will have their incentives and their incentives with your incentives might not be exactly aligned with each other. So always go to people who ask you for money upfront that, okay, I will tell you what to do. Please pay me 1,000 rupees. Please pay me 10 lakh rupees, whatever that fee is. If that fee makes sense to you, please pay them that amount of money. And that is how it should be. So that is the only place where the incentives are aligned with each other. And it's very easy to identify those guys. India, the regulatory body SEBI has a registered investment advisory framework. They are known as the RIA. The problem in India is that the market is like that there aren't that many RIAs. There are less than 1,000 RIAs in India. The fixed fee financial planners are even lesser. Now you have 20 crores and I have 10 crores does not mean that the fee will be double for you.
Hmm.
So please figure out a fixed fee advisor and that should do the trick.
Got it. So, Ravi, recently you wrote about fire in a world of layoffs, AI, and longer lives, right? And I think that's much more relevant right now. So, how has the fire conversation changed in your head over the years? Hmm.
So over the last couple of years, I have seen a few things emerge. A AI is a part of it, obviously, but a broader phenomena that the IT jobs and most of my friend circle, most of my social circle is in IT jobs in one way or the other. What is happening is that earlier, so let's say if I go back a generation or two, someone with 20 years experience was a very, very good resource compared to someone with, let's say, a 5 year or a 10-year experience, and they were paid a lot more. And that was expected because the value that someone with a 20-year experience could add was significantly more than the value that a 5-year experience or a 10-year experience guy can add. So if he's not creating that much value for the company, these guys are going to suffer with layoffs, with a non-increasing salary, because our expectation was that every year we will get a 5% rate, get 10% raise, our salary will keep on going up. Our salary will essentially work like an FD or a bond, which keeps on going up. That is no longer the case. Now, salary has started behaving a lot more like equity. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, sometimes it is not there, it has completely vanished. And what I see happening forward is, so let's say if you are a 30-year-old watching this right now, and you have seen your dad work in maybe 5 companies, work till 60, had a stable job, it's highly unlikely that you will have that sort of a stable job. It's highly unlikely that you will be working in a job 20 years, 25 years down the line, something similar to what you are doing today. That's not going to happen. The world has changed. And what that implies is very simply this, that you will need money, which you are not going to get from a job. So, you will need a portfolio to withdraw from. You will need to plan your finances, because just relying on your salary and then on a pension is not going to work. So that is a big problem, that the cash flows are going to be there. The cash flows will be there because you will do something and you'll make money, but it's not going to be a stable straight line up sort of a cash flow. The other thing
So
which
what
has
you're
started
saying is like the temporary income bubble that we are right that we are sitting on,
happening.
that a lot of people are mistaking that as permanent security, right? But that's actually not the
That's
case with AI coming in.
that's not going to happen. That's not going to be the case. It might happen for you, it might happen for me, but for the
Hmm.
median Indian IT professional is not going to be the case. The other thing which we need to realize right now is that the retirement age typically used to be 60. The average age that a person in India lives is somewhere around 75, if I am not wrong. Which meant that post retirement, you were supposed to live 10 to 15 years of that portfolio. By the time a 30-year-old, today's 30-year-old, one out of those three is going to probably live till 100. So even if
Right.
they go and work till 60, if working till 60 is itself a challenge. But even if
Hmm.
let's assume that everything is fine and he goes to live till 60, one of the three is going to live till 100. So now he needs to plan for a 40-year retirement. On the other hand, if you are someone whose finances or whose job doesn't pan out that way, you might have to live 45 years, 50 years in retirement. That is why financial planning or planning for retirement or planning for withdrawals becomes a lot more important today.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so let's play a game. I'll say something and then you tell me if it's overrated or underrated. Okay. Fire by 40.
Overrated. It's
Buying a house in
absolutely.
India.
Buying a house in India, again, depends what the need is. I would say, let's say, if you're planning for retirement, early retirement, or any sort of retirement, buying a house is an absolute necessity. It's non negotiable. On the other hand, if you're looking at it as, okay, fine, I'll do this as an investment, the value will grow, or I'll get some sort of a rental yield, that does not really work. So it depends on the need.
Got it. Passive income.
Extremely overrated there. So the only form of passive income that can probably work is on your financial assets. So you set up a portfolio and you withdraw from that portfolio. If you call that passive, yes.
Yeah. Financial influencers.
Most of them, I believe, do a very, very good job. But some of them also do a very, very bad job and with bad intention. So it's figuring out, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy.
Got it. AI for personal finance.
It's extremely underrated as of today. There are people who are building solutions for it. So I'm building a solution for it. There are others who are building solutions for it. It's the immense amount of power that it has. It's mind boggling. So for anyone who has not really tried, I'm not saying go ahead and try handauncle.com. If you do, please do. I'm saying that whatever AI you are using, if you're using Gemini, if you're using Perplexity, if you're using ChatGPT, please go and have a conversation with whatever AI you are using about personal finance. You will realize the immense power and potential it has. So I'll say it's extremely underrated today. Hopefully that would change.
Got it. So I recently read on LinkedIn, right, where you said that for some young professionals, especially the strong ones, early in their career, it may make a lot of sense to leave India and go outside for a while
Mhm.
if they care about long term financial security. So can you like explain what you meant there?
Sure. So the idea is that a lot of people, and because I used to be a teacher, a lot of people
Hmm.
don't even think about exploring options beyond India. So they come from
Hmm.
a mindset that, okay, I'll go to IT, I'll go to IIM. After that, I will, join a top job in Bangalore, and that's what it stays. And
Hmm.
this is, let's say, the top guys. But even if, let's say, you go to tier two or tier three colleges, going abroad as an option does not really emerge for a lot of them. And I do sincerely believe going abroad is getting difficult, every year. So it was very easy when I was getting out of college in 2005. 10 years ago, it was much harder than 2005, but still much easier than today. So it
Right.
keeps on getting harder. But if you're able to find a job abroad, what
Hmm.
happens is that you settle abroad, that's a completely different ball game. But if you're able to work abroad for a period of 10 years, the amount of money that you will be able to save in those 10 years will probably be the amount of money that you will be able to save in 20 years or 25 years in India. Now, what happens is sometimes people see this as a trade-off that, okay, I'm getting 50 lakhs here. Why should I go there? I'll be able to save a lot more here. And that, I believe, is myopic thinking. You should not be comparing what you can save in the first year there or what you can save in the first 2 years or the first 3 years there. Take a decade approach. Your career will grow here, your salary will grow here, your career will grow there, your salary will grow there. The growth opportunities might be more in India, might be less in India. But the overall savings that you will have in a decade abroad is going to be significantly more than what will be there in India. And if it doesn't pan out that way, you can always come back.
Got it. But like what you said, right, makes sense only if the person is trying to come back to India, right? Because if you are staying in abroad with that salary, then I don't think you will be able to save as much, right? In the sense like you will be also spending in that country's
Yeah, it's a
salary.
game
Yeah.
of it's a game of percentages. Let's say you are able to save
Hmm.
20% in India and you are able to save 20% abroad. The
Right.
20% abroad, if you come back to India, it becomes a substantial figure. But let's
Hmm.
say if you continue to live there, even there, the 20% abroad is a decent amount of savings.
Right.
Other factor is you are not really the likelihood of you going to a country which does not have social security, which does not have the infrastructure to support is less. It's much
Hmm.
more likely that you will go to probably a Western European country or a North American country or something like an Australia or New Zealand, which will have long-term social benefits for its residents and for its citizens in place.
Hmm.
So even if you plan to stay there long term for the rest of your life, if you can, even then financially it's always going to turn out to be a better move.
Got it. So online, I've seen a lot of fire content, right? And it sounds
Mm.
very clean, right? Like you save, you invest, you hit that number, and then you retire. But I feel like real Indian life is messy, right? You have kids, you have a lot of responsibilities, you have the other city cost. So, what are the real Indian constraints that make fire harder than the internet makes it look?
See, as far as the math part is concerned, I don't really think it's that much of a problem or you find a lot of incorrect information online. But what I see is missing is the social construct
Hmm.
because we as a society are extremely linked to each other. That makes a huge sort of a difference. For example, so some of the things is that when you're thinking about fire in India versus fire in the US, where the concept, so to say, originated, you will rarely find someone in the US talking about that they need to finance their kids' college education, they need to finance their kids' marriage, etc. Those are a standard in India that you will be
Right.
paying for your kids' college, you will be paying for your kids' especially if you have money. See, if you don't have money,
Hmm.
that's a separate issue. But let's say if you have the money, then you are obviously expected to, boss, you will pay for your kid's college. That is not an option that the kid will figure it out. You will pay for your kid's wedding. Those things are going to be there. The other thing is not just for the kids. The same is valid for the parents as well. A lot of parents expect their kids to take care of them in their old age, both physically as well as financially. That okay, their healthcare needs. So my kid would pay for it, stuff like that, and that adds an additional layer of complexity because how much do you need for your kid's college? How do I define that? So my kid is 6 years old. How do I define that? Okay, when he is 18, what is he going to study? Is he going to study in India? Is he going to study outside? If he decides to become a doctor, and if doctors are even going to be a college is going to be a thing 12 years down the line, what are the costs that going to be? All of that is so much of an unknown. See, I know I'm spending 1 lakh rupees a month right now.
So how did you decide on that? Like let's get to that. How did you decide? I know you have a kid, so how did you decide for their education?
So what I decided was that, okay, I have, round figure that I'll keep 50 lakh rupees for my kid. Now,
Hmm.
that is 50 lakh rupees today. 12 years down the line, 13 years down the line, that money would obviously grow to something. How I personally, looked at coming up with this 50 lakh sort of a number was that if you consider the IIT IIM fee today, so the IIT fee today is somewhere from 10 to 15 lakh rupees for the 4-year course. The IIM
Hmm.
fee today is somewhere from 20 to 30 lakh rupees, depending upon which IIM you go to. So overall, it's around 40 lakhs. Let's add that buffer. The kid is not going to be that smart that he goes to an IIT IIM. So if he has to go to a private college, add another 10 lakh rupee buffer to it. So that's how I came up with a nice 50 lakh rupee sort of a round figure. But there isn't too much math to it. It's broadly
Got it.
based upon how much money I had.
Got it. So I know you do a lot of interviews and podcasts, right? So what do Indians, do better than the Western counterpart in terms of fire?
Saving.
And what is one thing they do worse?
So saving are brilliant at saving. So Indians don't really like to spend.
Hmm.
We culturally, debt is looked down upon. That, if I have to borrow money,
Hmm.
even from a bank, you know, so this is, say, for example, if you have a home loan, a lot of people, including myself, I feel a certain amount of pressure that, oh, there is a home loan on my head, debt that I need to pay off, and becoming debt free. That, okay, I have no loans on me right now, no home loan, no car loan. That itself is considered as an achievement. The part that India does badly is managing that money. They do that part really badly because, once again, they don't have open conversations about where to invest, how much money you are making, how much money you have. The other cultural problem is that, again, if I'm going to a doctor, I'll be perfectly honest with him. But why should I
Hmm.
tell you how much money do I have? And
Yeah, I think
so
I think
let's say,
that conversation of having money and how much money I make, how much I save, how much I invest, I think is really difficult for Indians, right?
and it's bound to be difficult because you're not going to a professional.
Hmm.
So if you go, so let's say if you go to a therapist, for example, you will talk to him about everything, every dark fear that you have inside, and then he will be able to help you. Very
Hmm.
similarly, but can you be that open with your neighbor? Can you be that open with your cousin, like with a therapist? You can't, and that is why going to a professional makes a difference.
But do you think the future of financial advice is going to be more software and less human now? Like, why would you need a financial
Absolutely.
advisor now?
Absolutely. So even today, the shittiest version of any AI, I'm not saying even Handa uncle, any
Hmm.
AI that you go to, any AI that you go to, the worst possible version that you go to, that can give you better advice than a human can. Because
Hmm.
you can be perfectly honest with them, with the AI. You can keep on
Hmm.
asking questions. You can keep on getting into granularity. So even today, any AI is significantly better than 90% of the financial folks which exist in the industry. Okay. The other thing is cost. So the cost that I'm talking about for these various financial folks is typically going to be around 1%, or it is going to be some sort of a fixed fee, which you can average out at 50,000 odd rupees. An AI based financial advisor, say, for example, the one that we are building, or for anyone, that will probably cost you maybe 1,000 rupees a year, maybe 2,000 rupees a year.
Yeah.
But the cost is going to be so low that a
Hmm.
lot of people would just try it out and they would see the benefit
Benefits.
of it.
So, Bravi, what I liked about this conversation is that it takes fire out of the fantasy mode that we are living in and puts it back into real life, right? So, AI layoffs, India specific constraints, lifestyle pressure, that's the version people actually need to think about. So, thanks a lot for doing this. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here, and I'm always, want to happy to chat with people about finances. Hopefully, I'll be on the show again sometime soon. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
If you found this conversation useful, you'll definitely enjoy the next one I've linked here. And if you want more real conversations like this, make sure you subscribe. I'm bringing one of these every week.